We make finding the right camping tent easier for you by bringing you the best camping tents of 2025. Check out our top picks from MSR, REI Co-op, Mountain Hardwear, and more. In this video we will look at some of the 5 best camping tents on the market. Before we get started with our video, we have included links in the description, so make sure you check those out to see which one is in your budget range. Number 1. Mountain Hardwear Bridger 4. Borrowing DNA from the brand's mountaineering roots, the new Mountain Hardwear Bridger 4 tent, $780, hits all the marks we're looking for in a group camping tent, and that's before you even open the door. Twin vestibules boast more square footage than even the sleeping area, making a tent that's as much about hanging out as it is snoozing in. Starting from the inside, the Bridger 4 keeps the living large with 62.5 square feet of sleeping quarters, and steep walls that meet at a 66-inch peak height. The tent is supported by a classic 2-pole configuration, with an additional ridge pole that props up the peaks of the entry and exits. A full coverage rain fly encompasses everything on the exterior and extends 7 feet for the front vestibule. When we initially tested this tent in the spring of 2023, our campers flocked to this spot to kick back and store gear in. It easily accommodates a handful of camp chairs, a cooler, or even a couple of parked bikes, and now with a few seasons under the belt, it's still the tent to hang in. The doors also feature a saloon-style zip, meaning the interior can be melded into the hangout zone. Then there's the storage, 8 pockets on the interior, as well as 2 organizers that hang inside the vestibule space, each sporting 3 pockets. We found these especially handy during the day, as we didn't need to enter/exit the tent to snag what we needed. In terms of setup, the Bridger does take a few minutes to set up. The extended vestibule is a dream once in place, but it did make single-handed setup a bit of a wrestling match. Breaking down the tent goes smoothly, however, and it packs away into one of the nicest zip-up storage bags we've seen in a tent. Perfect as a camping base camp for a group, the Bridger tent brings the party from inside to out, and while it's nearly the most expensive on our list, it's amenable to many different camping scenarios and ensures it'll be around for endless campfires. If the price just won't fly, consider the REI Co-op Base Camp 6, a $549 option with more sleeping space, but less room to hang in. Number 2. Marmot Limestone 6-person tent. While testing in the Rocky Mountains, we experienced sudden high winds and heavy rains. Nearly every tent experienced some damage ranging from broken poles to leaks. The Marmot Limestone 6P, $529, was completely unfazed. It remained sturdy and dry through it all. It's not as tall or roomy as some car camping tents, but the sacrifice of space is worth it for excellent weather protection. You can fit 6 people or spread out and sleep comfortably with just 483 square feet of floor space. Near vertical walls help to bump up the livability, and while the vestibule is a bit snug, the interior is rightfully cozy. The large double doors make coming and going easy. Pre-bent poles make for a quick setup. There's a vestibule on one side for holding extra gear, and interior gear pockets keep you organized. And there's plenty of mesh that allows for maximum airflow. Newly redesigned, the Limestone gains a few added rainfly vents with integrated struts for propping them open. Because the rainfly design is closely related to backpacking tents, there are certain areas of the fly where it can touch the mesh of the inner, which can lead to dribbles and high condensation conditions, a result a few of our testers noted. Properly guying out the shelter can help alleviate this, in conjunction with the newly added vents. For most poor weather trips we more often reach for the REI Base Camp. But if the REI Co-op Base Camp is a bit too rich for your blood, the Limestone 6P is built to withstand storms and is a great choice for anyone camping in unpredictable, inclement weather. Number 3. Eureka Copper Canyon LX 4-person tent. If you're looking for a family tent that feels like a spacious screen-in porch, the Eureka Copper Canyon LX, $270, is for you. The 7-foot-tall interior height means no more awkward stooping. And with 64 square feet of floor space, there's plenty of room to spread out. We found this provided a comfortable amount of space for 2 adults and 2 young children. Each wall is lined with pockets, which is great for keeping track of your headlamp and storing other essentials. The best part about this tent is the airy feel and giant mesh windows. Not only does it keep things breathable, but it also means you can easily enjoy the view in any direction. We spent a week camping outside Moab and loved relaxing in the tent while watching the sunrise. That said, the benefits of this tent are also its downfall. The tall height and large windows can be problematic in stormy weather. High winds will challenge any tent, and that's especially true of a tent that's 7 feet tall. Like other cabin-style tents, such as the Eureka Copper Canyon LX we also tested, fair-weather camping is more the vibe for this tent. The windows zip closed, and the included rainfly protects from rainfall. However, in heavy storms, it is possible to experience slight leaking. We also would have preferred a second door. For mild summer conditions, though, the Copper Canyon 4 is a winner for family camping. It offers plenty of standing room and is a decent value to boot. We were also pleased with how easily it packed back into the storage bag. Number 4. Coleman Skydome Darkroom 6-person tent. You didn't think we'd leave out a classic Coleman, did you? The Coleman Skydome Darkroom 6-person tent, $200, certainly is classic and brings a good bit to the table for the price. There are also some shortfalls to contend with, but the big draw here is the darkroom aspect of this tent, a blackout rain fly that can help block out late-night campground neighbors. Compared to a traditional dome-style Coleman, the Skydome series bumps out the headroom by putting a kink in each of the poles, making for nearly vertical walls. And while those poles are aluminum and an upgrade from our budget pick, the Kelty Discovery Base Camp, they are pre-attached to the tent, good in theory, but in practice was a bit fussy to manage. The tent fly is, as promised, quite dark, and it is pretty easy to get situated on the tent itself. This is, however, one of the more skimpy coverage flies in our review. Only the toupe-style fly of the Eureka Copper Canyon LX is smaller, and only comes down to about half the height of the tent walls. And while the brow pole does a good job of covering the door from rain from above, it was no match for wind-driven rain in our testing. Campgrounds these days can be pretty crowded, and if you end up next to the all-night raiders, it can be tough to get some shut-eye with other tents. That's where we think the Skydome Darkroom shines, even despite the shortcomings. Stuffing the tent away isn't the easiest. We cycled through multiple campers before concluding that the tent wasn't going back into the bag quietly, but it can be made to work. Available in 4-, 6-, and even an 8-person size, the Skydome Darkroom tent was made for weekends at the campground. Number 5. MSR Habitude 6. After many seasons abroad and close to home, we've settled it. The MSR Habitude 6, $700, is just about the best camping tent on the market today. It brings together a slate of smart front country features and a tough construction that ensures it'll be around long into your camping future. Available in both a 4- and 6-person configuration, the Habitude series of tents borrows much from MSR's long history in backcountry-style tents to produce one for the more mellow outings of the summer. Supreme livability is the name of the game for this tent, and we greatly appreciated the large vestibule space and 6-foot overhead clearance. Setup is a breeze, utilizing a hubbed pole design and color-coded clips, no pole sleeves to fuss with, to erect the 83 square feet of sleeping space. While many camping-sized tents might require an extra set of hands to wrangle it into existence, the Habitude was noticeably easy to erect by a single person. The majority of the tent's inner is a 68D polyester, with mesh placed smartly to provide airflow and privacy. Studded about are a number of storage pockets and extra hang loops to trick out your home away from home with camping niceties such as lanterns. Unfortunately, this wonderful tent only offers a single entry point. We would have loved the ease of a 1.5 door design, like on the North Face Wawona 4. You might consider the integrated LED porch light lantern a worthy bomb, as it is pretty enjoyable to use. For a close-to-identical tent with an additional door, look to the similar MSR Habescape series, just with less weather protection. Weighing the Habitude against other tents is tough. It was considerably lighter than the REI Base Camp 6 but also $100 more expensive. It offers more standing height than the Marmot Limestone 4P, but it lacks the second door it sports. The scales always have to balance out somewhere, but after many seasons of use, we agreed that the Habitude 6 does it better than pretty much any other tent.